Hey, football heads. It's still me, still here. I'm your commissioner, Tim Dowling, and I'm here. I'm here with Vice Commissioner Alex McCauley, and we're here again. Still here, still standing.
I'm happy to be here, homies. Good to be back on the mic, bringing you another exuberant, energetic episode of Hey Football Head.
Speak for yourself. Speak for yourself. I'm contemplating for the first time in my long tenure, decade-long reign of commissioning. It's in my head. I'm thinking about stepping down.
Are you talking about stepping down from commissioner, or is this like, are you doing the max hiatus? Are you need a year off?
Walk away.
Just
kind of want to walk away. You know, I'm 0-4. Never been. I don't think I've ever been 0-3 before. Now I'm 0-4, and I'm probably going to be 0-5.
Okay, let's unpack. Let's unpack here for a minute, because I think that this is helpful.
I think I'm done.
You're a huge NFL professional football fan.
No, I don't know.
Listen. What I want to know, what the people want to know is give us a strategy. Let's do a little wellness check here. How can you avoid letting a negative fantasy season impact your joy of watching football on a Sunday? Are you not watching football? What's happening right now?
I think as I've gotten older, I find the sport barbaric. There's only one team. I really, honestly, if my fantasy team isn't scored touchdowns, I find the rest of the NFL quite boring. I only really like I like watching the Seahawks.
Okay.
That's it.
So the allure of professional football, are you saying even with a good fantasy season, it's just the older you get, the less entertaining you're finding it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, just sitting down to watch any game start to finish. I do like the new kickoffs. I think that's kind of bringing me back a little bit. That helps. I don't know, man. I'm not bringing it today. It's a bad episode.
I will say this. I have thought about what not only this league would look like, a decade or two into the future, but just the idea of playing fantasy football as like a 45-year-old man. And imagine being truly middle-aged with a family or whatever other extracurriculars you want to attach to that. And you're like 1-7 rooting for a bunch of getting mad at a bunch of 22-year-olds for not performing well on your fantasy team. That right there sounds very kind of just pathetic and immature.
Yeah.
And so it's not that I don't sympathize with you now and hear what you're saying, but I don't think we're quite to that point yet. I think you gotta, I see the dumpster fire. We all see the dumpster fire. You've asked folks in the league before to embrace it when they find themselves in this position. So I don't know if you want to Eeyore around, that's fine. You're entitled to it, but a fiery commissioner is a good commissioner, and it doesn't always have to be when you're up. It can be when you're down.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. We're not too far away. I think there actually is a shelf life for the league.
I agree. Agreed.
I think there is. We may not be there yet, but I'll tell you what, it's closer than we want to admit. And that's what this is really making me face it. And not winning. Oh, I don't think I'll ever win again. That's how it feels. I don't think I'll ever win. I think I'm going defeated this year. I don't know a team that I'll beat. Except for, let's get into the power rankings. I'll definitely beat Chun.
As you can see too, now, we can get to Chun in a little bit. Chun, I hope that at the end of the year, I don't look back at my record having missed the playoffs by like a game or something like that. And it's because I lost to Morgan early on in the season. He has guys There's guys that can show up, but we all have guys that can show up, right? I do just want to make a quick note. My 1 episode stint as producer has ended. The Minister of Media himself is behind the curtain right now, pulling the strings. So he's throwing all kinds of things into the chat right now too, which is great. I know that behind the camera right now, Max is loving the anguish that our commissioner is going through.
Hey, I'm right there with him. 0-4. But you know what? I have a good team. I'm going to be 4-4 by week 8. Mark my words. On this episode, we will look back. I don't know. Commish might never win again, though. Who knows?
And he's gone, just like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, you'll notice he's back. We got music. We got questions. We got sound effects. Great. I mean, number 12 on the power rankings, I did put Chun. I don't know why necessarily. Oh, I know why. He's got 381. I mean, okay, if we look at the points for,
yeah,
I am kind of in the middle of the road. I have, like 430 points for. So Chun has 381 for.
Yeah. And then you look at somebody like, yeah. I mean, you look at somebody like the Andy Stack, and I know we haven't gotten to the middle there of it or whatever, but like Andrew's only had 327 points scored against him. So we're still in that first trimester, I guess, if you will, of the fantasy season where like some people have just gotten lucky. And now, can that continue? Yeah, we've seen that continue throughout an entire season, but the law of averages, I would say, hasn't really taken over yet.
I could easily be 2-2, not to make it all about me, but it's about me today. Okay. I could be 2-2. I lost some close ones on Monday night the first 2 weeks. I've only put myself at 10. I got Chun and I got Max at 11. This is based on some points for. I have scored more points than either of them. And really, I guess this is a more optimistic power rankings and how I'm feeling right now, because I do think managerially I've done better than either of them. I haven't had any blunders like $54 on the waiver wire for Carson Steele. I haven't traded away half of my team and not pay off. I'm trying to remain cool, calm, and collected, but man, I see Lamb before time as the number 1 team on my schedule this week, and I got Saquon on a bye. I'll be in that 12 spot very, very soon. But for now, it's going to go Chun. It's going to go Max. It's going to go myself. But I could see, Max is very optimistic for whatever reason. He did take a whole year off. So that tells you something. When you take a whole year away, you come back energized.
When you can take a whole year off, come back, start 0-4, and still be enthusiastic, ready to go, excited about the future. Yeah, you're right.
What's this guy on? Huh?
He's high on life, man. Have you
great
heard about
team.
this guy?
I've got a great team. I'm telling you. Look at the players.
What do you
just
like?
Hasn't come together.
Why don't you tell us?
I've lost 3 close games on Monday night. If I make one different lineup change in all 3 of those games, I'm 3-1.
Jay Downs was your dub R number 1 right now. Brian Thomas Jr. is your dub R number 2. Breece Hall, your namesake, had 2 points last week.
That's not happening. That's not going to happen every week. That's an anomaly.
What are we
excited? Your
IDP,
your IDP pickup is dope. I was watching a lot of that Commanders game this last weekend, and Frankie Louvu, cool guy.
Great name. I got Matt in number 9. Skunk Boy Part 2. He's 2-2, and he's got the least amount of points scored, 367, and he's 2-2.
Yeah.
James Conner, Rashad White, Zay Flowers, Drake London. God, I don't know how I have him 9. Honestly, you should probably go like, I don't know. Obviously you notice I haven't written a little two-piece bullshit
Mm-hmm.
about each team, because what can I say anymore when I'm 0-4? No one wants to hear this. No one wants to listen to this. Ain't that right, Andy? Andy, can you hear me? Are you out there? Come on. Thought you wanted to be my stooge. Give me a comment. God, can't rely on anyone.
We'll hear from him and Colin, the regulars, before the episode's over. Glow was pretty adamant.
I don't know anything else.
Yourself in the double digits in the power ranking, so Blaine's out there paying attention.
Well, I did that one. Did it for Glow.
Yep, there it is.
Oh, there it is. I'm here, Timmy. Thank you. Thanks, Andrew. All right. Feel a little bit better.
So, just to clarify, are you saying Matt with the least amount of points scored 4, and then looking at his roster, you're confused how he's even won 2 games?
Yeah, he should be 12.
Okay.
Without fair. CMC being hurt, CMC not playing at all.
I bet you wouldn't get much pushback from Matt himself.
Yeah. Can't wait to get lucky. Who else is up there? Damn it, Bobby. Now this team's been in free fall. I was really hyped on Bobby's team earlier in the year, but I ended up being kind of accurate about Stevenson and Ridley.
Mm-hmm.
They scored a lot of points against me, of course, when I played him. But in the 2 weeks since, I think they've combined for 12 points total over 2 weeks between the two of them.
Injuries have not helped. Cooper Kupp been out since week 1 or 2, I think, and then Isaiah Pacheco, we know the story, on IR, probably out 4 more weeks, maybe 5, 6 potentially.
And this guy's got 2 empty bench spots, $100 in fab. I don't know. And Kelsey is underperformed historically this year. Yep. So Bobby, he's dropping low for sure. Used to be 6, now he's 8.
Listen, I'll be the first to say this too, because I was trying to move Patrick Mahomes since last week, and I'm continuing to shop him around the league because he's rated like 15. That's not you're not a starting quarterback in a 12-team league if you're ranked 15th. Bobby's got Aaron Rodgers, who's ranked 17 right now, and so we're both kind of, and we're both at 2-2. Or excuse me, Bobby's at 1-3. But when you're there, and you got guys who are outside of, if it's a running back or if it's a wide receiver and they're outside the top 40, if it's a quarterback and they're outside the top 12 or 13, it's like you can't start these guys anymore. Like they've shown who they are, sort of.
Yeah, and Bobby's style is not to make a lot of
first rounders. Yeah, I benched Travis Etienne last week, first round draft pick. It was the right play. You got 6.5 points.
Poof, stuff. So I mean, look for Bobby to continue to slide unless he makes a major move. I don't know. Empty bench spots. Not that there's a whole lot available in our league, but still got to see something. Tank Bigsby is 3-1. This is a storyline here. One of the worst drafts, hated his team, and then he absolutely takes advantage of our producer Max, totally turns his team around, beats him on Monday night, and finds himself 3-1.
And then he got Chun last week, which it's a winnable game, and he takes care of business. So 2-game win streak. I will say Blaine is right there. He's such an analytics guy. I'm sure he's looked at this. He's plus 5 points total on the year. So he's scored less than 400, 389, and he's had 384 scored against him. So the point differential there is insane, that it's basically just been like he's 3-1, but he's about as even as you can be with points for and points against.
That's crazy. 389, 3-1. Wild. Well, I got him at the 7th spot. Andy Stack, another team that I had started in the rankings way low to early. Bad draft. Different approach, a little bit more reserved, a little bit more calm. Still not stagnant, like I'd say Bobby is.
Here's the fire. I hear it. Let it rain.
3-1, Andy Stack moving up currently. And he's got 415 points, and Blaine's got 389. They're both 3-1. I cannot believe that.
So Andy's team is scoring points. They're over that 400 mark, and so averaging over 100 a week so far. But 327 points against. That's the lowest in the league. So he's been the most fortunate when it comes to opponents, and 327 is the lowest by a significant margin.
Yeah, and been solid with some of his draft picks. I think he said he took Brock Purdy in the very last round. It's been a very capable fantasy quarterback thus far this year. James Cook has been a great surprise. His first round pick, Bijan Robinson, is at least had a solid floor, even if Algier, who he is rostering as well, has outscored him a few times. That's still kind of
Nico Collins. Nico Collins is WR1 on this season. So he was still
scoring wide receiver.
Yeah, he was still a top 10 wide receiver, but obviously outperforming his ADP.
Higgins has come back. Mark Andrews, he sits him down, picks up Zach Ertz, who's a top 8 tight end. Picks up Khalil Shakir in Buffalo, who's become Josh Allen's favorite target.
Solid flex.
I like Lazard on the bench, pretty decent depth. Andrew, you've earned the 3-1. You've earned a top 6 spot so far. Don't let it get to your head, kid. Moving on. Dropped Lou down from the 3 spot to the 5 spot. He's 2-2. Kind of a floor game for Lou this week. I think he barely cracked 100, and he's got a couple bye weeks coming up.
He's got a tough bye week right now. Yeah.
Charbonnet, he was a big benefactor of Charbonnet's big weeks, but now with Kenneth Walker back, hurts him a bit. And I think he's going to be a little bit inconsistent with Garrett Wilson in that Jets offense. That hurts him. So 2-2. Then I got you at the 4 spot. Kept you at the 4 spot.
Yep.
How do you feel about that?
I think it's fair. I'm scoring points. I'm at 442 for the year, which I'm feel great about. And I've had 459 scored against me. So quite a few points scored against me. And so to be 2-2, I feel good. My guys can go off. I wouldn't say rather easily, but I think there's enough balance between my wide receivers and running backs right now. And then we're still just kind of fucking waiting for Patrick Mahomes to do his job. And I know it's getting harder and harder with guys like Rasheen Rice now going out. Hollywood Brown's IR status seems to be season long. So I don't know if a struggling Travis Kelce and a second and third string tight end and a rookie wide receiver who weighs 160 pounds and Kareem Hunt. I don't know if this is the offensive unit that's going to help Patrick Mahomes turn it around. But I'm certainly not going to drop him. I'm going to continue to try to package him in different trades to teams who I feel like maybe need a running back, and I can offer Tony Pollard, or maybe I can offer Travis Etienne or something like that to try to get one of these quarterbacks that I'm going after. Full transparency, offered him up for Baker Mayfield. Chun's got 2 starting quarterbacks, Baker and Joe Burrow. Tried to give him Patrick Mahomes and a running back for Baker and one of his running backs. He wouldn't have it. So we're trying. We're staying active, but also we can wade in these waters. I feel fine.
John's a collector. He likes to just watch people on his bench and not start him. He just loves Baker. I just love Baker. I love Baker. Never going to play him, though. Never going to see him in that stop spot over Joey B. Can't bench him. I'm just going to keep Baker. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, I mean, this week right now, he's got Burrow in the starting lineup against my Baltimore defense. That's an AFC North divisional game. And Baker's just sitting on the bench in a primetime game against Atlanta. And, I don't know what you're doing there. Fucking start Baker Mayfield.
Yep, I don't know. Does he know what he's doing? Probably not. Glow
Hey,
says
that's
free
right.
ad
Hey,
time for
yep.
Trapdoor trades.
Yep.
That's what happens when you host the podcast,
Yeah, I'm saying, where would the skip button be? If this was YouTube, you could skip them right here after 5 seconds, but nope. Just unadulterated ad time for trades. Send them my way. If you want Patrick Mahomes, make an offer.
You know what would be a great real life trade for fantasy owners, for me and for you?
Davante Adams to the fucking Chiefs.
Yeah, but that obviously won't happen, being that they're in the same division. But I'll tell you what, that'd be good. Be good for everyone but the Raiders.
Yeah. Who were you thinking? Is that what you were thinking?
That's what I was thinking.
You know what else would be pretty hilarious too? You know who needs a competent quarterback to throw him the ball? Tyreek Hill. You know who needs a solid wide receiver? Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, get Tyreek and Davante on the Chiefs for our sake.
Huh? Yeah.
Davante to the Bills, Glow says. Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good, says a Josh Allen owner. Yeah.
Right.
I like it. Moving along in these power rankings, I got the Ball Hogs cracking the top 3. 3-1. Colin has had a hell of a year. He's really had some big games.
Yeah, he has.
Scored a lot of points, had a decent draft. So I'll give him his due. And then the top 2 hasn't changed, and they just played each other. Obviously, Camille came out the victor, and that was a hell of a game.
Yeah.
Lived up to the hype.
It definitely did. Feel bad for Kef. It's never fun when you go over like 125 or whatever it is that he scored and lose.
Well, how about this? Kef has had the most points scored against him in the league by a fairly significant margin, and he has the most points scored for as well. So good for Kef. You really can't, be too upset. He's got to feel good about his overall position. And then Camille, I don't know if anyone's going to stop him. I really think this is his year. He's got the depth. He's got the swagger. He's due. He's coming for it this year. Let's move along to recent activity, I suppose.
All right, producer extraordinaire is pulling it up. Yeah, I looked at it early this morning. Not too thrilled to see that I was the high dollar amount. I think spent $16 on Samaje Perine. However, it's tough because I have Jahmyr Gibbs and Tony Pollard on a bye this week, and so knowing that the bye weeks are starting for everybody, I thought, shoot, that's somebody I need to have, and so I was willing to go over budget a little bit. Let's see if you could scroll down there a little bit, Max. It looks like, Justice Hill, Andy was thinking the same thing, spent $21 on him. Dontavian Wicks, wide receiver for the Packers, goes for 21 also. So people were definitely willing to spend some money this week as buys are starting to come around, which I think is what you got to do, tough when you see that offers report, like I said, early in the morning, and there's nobody else who bid on your guy, but at the same time, it's roster security. Like you gotta get these guys.
Well, yeah, let's this is I think where I've fumbled quite a bit this year early on, and I got a bone to pick with producer Max, by the way. He fucking pulled the old switcheroo on me here and screwed me out of a running back. It's a brilliant move by him if it was intentional, but Trey Sermon, Indianapolis Colts. He's looking like he's going to get some play time because Jonathan Taylor is not healthy. Jonathan Taylor's not healthy. So Max tells me, and I got Saquon on a bye, so I'm looking to pick up Trey Sermon. I have a bid in for Trey Sermon for $10.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to drop Cordero Patterson. Then Max says, hey, I'll trade you Austin Eckler for TJ Hawkinson. I go, really? Really? Hawkinson for Eckler, huh? That's what you want? Oh, yeah, send it my way. Send it my way, he says. I've got Evan Ingram. I'm thinking I need this running back. It's better depth. I'm feeling good about that. So I make the trade. However, it's going to put me over the limit. So I got to drop someone. I drop Cordell or Patterson. Now, this is my mistake. I canceled my pickup for Trey Sermon, thinking that this trade, that this guy gives me a verbal, right? Oh, yeah, Hawkinson for Eckler. I'll do it. Send it. Wake up in the morning. Trey Sermon goes for $9. My trade is declined.
Wow.
And then he tries to send me something like he wants the Packers defense for Eckler. I'm thinking, oh, yeah, I'll do that too. Disappears. I'll tell you what, don't negotiate with producer Max. You can't trust a word he says. Fucked me out of Trey Sermon, and now I'm looking at Jaleel McLaughlin or something. Is my running back now this week? I don't know if that's better than Justice Hill or Samaje Perine. I don't know what the deal is with Kansas City's backups.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on in Baltimore. But Trey Sermon seemed like a pretty good deal. Indianapolis has a good O-line. Jonathan Taylor's not healthy. This would have been a good, perfect plug and play. But hell, I thought I was getting Eckler. Max, why don't you tell me what the hell happened?
Got finessed. You didn't even have to pop in here. I'll tell you right now, you got finessed. Look at this guy. This guy.
Huh.
However, I think you can take solace in knowing that Max spent $17 on the Packers defense. So quite a bit of the fab there.
Yeah, a lot of fab was spent. I don't know. I got 80. Maybe my $80 will mean more toward the end of the year here. But
Max also spent $11 on Tucker Kraft. So kind of, going in on the Packers there.
Investing in the Packers.
Yeah, investing in the Packers for sure. But yeah, I mean, this is crazy. You see he's also spent $6 on a kicker. People are spending more money on defense and special teams units. I do like Colin picking up Justin Fields for $3. Fields, I think, was like QB2 or 3 last week. When they get around the goal line, he's truly kind of their goal line back, which I know is frustrating as a Najee Harris, or as a person that rosters Najee Harris. But I think I can see Najee in that dumpster behind you.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I like that pick. Justin Fields back to being a dual threat quarterback. And then yeah, you can see the rest of the pickups here that all kind of happened after hours, in the early hours of this morning once waivers cleared. There's your Jaleel McLaughlin, Cordero Patterson, all these different things. You did pick up Cortland Sutton, somebody who you've been hating on for 2 years, and now he's a commissioner. This is a pattern of yours. You did it with Michael Pittman. You roasted him for years when he was on my squad, and then as soon as I get bored with him, he's yours. So I hope Sutton plays nice for you. He had a pretty good game last week with a touchdown. And Bo Nix is coming around. So I don't know. It's not all roses in Denver, but I do think that is, I don't know, maybe your boy Jaleel McLaughlin's going to be a little bit more fantasy relevant.
I was looking at volume.
Yeah.
I picked up a couple Broncos this week. I don't even know who they're playing. They're playing the Vegas Dumpster Fire Raiders. Devontae Adams. I also want to make my case for being injury prone. Devontae Adams being out, Evan Ingram, Deebo Samuel was out for a little bit. I haven't been the healthiest. Tua was my drafted quarterback. We all know what happened to him. RIP. I guess he's still alive, but might not play again. Just saying, I should at least get a nomination at this point in the season. I need an excuse because this has been rough.
All right, so that does it for recent activity. Would still like to see.
We don't need to see Glow. Glow's had plenty of comments come up. We don't need to see any more from Glow.
No, publish every single one of them. I've sent the link. I'm texting back and forth with a buddy right now. Shout out to O'Shea, and he's asking me some questions. Yeah, I told him, hey, we're live on the pod right now, and he goes, I want this question answered. Sam Darnold this week. His old coworker of mine, friend O'Shea McLaughlin, he said, Sam Darnold versus the Jets or CJ Stroud versus the Bills. Who would you play? I said, conventional wisdom would say Stroud, but Bills, tough defense. However, that offense just looks like it's getting stronger and stronger each week. I don't know if Joe Mixon comes back this week for the Texans, but that would only help things. However, Sam Darnold going against the Jets. Revenge game.
In London.
He wants to show that Jets, that Jets ownership group that fuck Adam Gates. Or Gase, what was his name? Adam Gase, the coach when he was there. Been playing well. So, yeah, he's texting me right now. He said, Darnold about to be on a heater. I agree.
Would we be a football head if we didn't promote Sam Darnold? I got him on my bench. Now I like Geno in my case this week matchup-wise, but in his case, against Buffalo for CJ Stroud, when Sam Darnold – he's been a very, very efficient quarterback this year. Go ahead and throw him in there. I like it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, the London games start again this week. That's wild. 6:30 a.m. football. Come on. I don't care if you're 0-10, Tim. 6:30 a.m. football. That's fun.
I'm not waking up for that. I barely woke up for this. Let's go to the game previews.
All right. Pull them up there, producer.
There's whiskey in this bottle.
All right. Here we go. Max has got it pulled up. We did not talk about who we were going to highlight as game of the week here before we came on. So I guess we'll kind of go through these one by one. Max, how about you pop in and talk to us a little bit about your matchup there, since you're obviously on your account and you're listed first against Matt. Yeah.
Yeah, we feel great. We can't wait to be 1-4. The team that does not have CMC is, a team that's relying on Kyler Murray and Drake London to do things. So, inconsistent at best for Matt. Got some lucky wins there early in the season, but we love Jordan Mason, who is just going to shove it down Matt's throat. And all the CMC owners out there. So we're hopefully going to be beating all of those CMC owners.
You're getting close to saying something that sounds really weird. Careful. I think that as someone who rosters CJ Stroud, I'd love to know if you want to pop back in here. Are you tempering expectations this week going against the Bills defense? And then also
walked away.
There's other guys on your team too, like Devon Achane, people that at the beginning of the year looked really solid, but because of things in real life that have happened to their teams maybe aren't as reliable. So I know you're confident. Maybe you're not going to pop back in.
CJ Stroud's that's a tough matchup against the Bills, but I believe it's in Buffalo. So we're expecting not a regular CJ game.
No, it's in Houston.
In Houston.
Oh, it's in Houston.
And I'll tell you what,
we love that.
Stefon Diggs revenge game.
Yeah, and Stefon Diggs is going to be wanting the ball. So hopefully that means lots of throws. I don't know if Joe Mixon's back or if the running game will be even really viable, if it's going to be a shootout. We also love the Indianapolis-Jacksonville matchup because that's my two wide receivers. Both of those defenses are really bad. And if Joe Flacco is still in there at quarterback, Josh Downs is just going to continue to eat. I was happy to pick him up off the waivers for free. He was like the number one guy, I think, going into the season before he got hurt. And Brian Thomas Jr., again, shows flashes last week that he's a real deal guy. Almost 20 points last week. So
I think the commissioner and Michael Pittman would like to have a word with Josh Downs.
What the hell are you talking about?
As far as volume goes, Josh Downs, I mean, he's the slot guy, he's the third down guy, he's the faster wide receiver.
You think the slot guys are the volume guys?
When's
Lockett getting in your lineup, huh?
He's getting everything underneath. I will say,
when's Lockett getting in the lineup?
The Lockett-McLaurin trade might go down as my worst trade of all time. That was a bad trade.
Yes,
it was a bad trade. I now see that with this rookie sensation that everyone loves over there in Washington. Yes, that hurts. But again, then we get Josh Downs for free. We've got Jennings on the bench as well, who put up 40 points earlier this year. And then we're just waiting for A.J. Brown. Okay. We got a bye week for the Eagles. Thank God. A.J. Brown's going to be back, and he's a round 1 pick. I now have 2 round 1 picks on my team, and we're excited. We're excited to get A.J. back out there and flying.
Are you in like the storage room at a Target or something? Where are you joining us from?
Put him in the closet.
I am in. I'm at my wonderful institution of film,
of higher education.
Film,
yes,
of higher education. I am in the cage right now, the equipment cage.
Oh, we've heard so much about the cage.
So this is where I'll be taking these pods every Wednesday, but also means I have to pop in and out. So
well, you're doing the Lord's work. Yep,
you're doing great. You're doing great. And you know what? Lucky for him, he's playing Matt this week when he's got Kyler Murray in San Francisco, James Conner in San Francisco, Rachaad White has not been the bell cow for Tampa Bay, with Bucky Irving getting some slips there, and Atlanta's playing pretty good this year.
Listen, Bucky Irving now.
Yeah, I mean, Matt's and then Kyle Pitts with a goose egg.
Bucky Irving is on Lewis's team. Lewis could be having a Tank Bigsby type run here with Bucky Irving, because again, just like, what a good football name, right? Like, who is Bucky Irving?
Bucky Irving. Let's move to the main thing and damn it, Bobby, with the next game there.
Where so you're going Max.
Who's got Jalen Hurts? Oh yeah, I'm going Max. I think he gets to 1-4, keeps his dream of a 4-4 season alive. So Lou's got Jalen Hurts and David Montgomery on bye, with Charbonnet not being the guy in Seattle anymore. This is kind of, I mean, the door is open here for Bobby if he would just wake up. Kittle's not healthy. I guess
Julian Love's not healthy for Lewis.
Bucky Irving could get in that spot. I wonder what kind of quarterback. He's got some work to do. Is it Daniel Jones against Seattle? Does he pick him up? He's currently the highest projected quarterback. And now that he's got Malik Neighbors, actually a decent wide receiver to throw to, pretty good. I mean, Seattle's defense is not healthy. We saw Jared Goff tear him up on Monday.
I'm going to scroll over to Camille's team and look at Neighbors, because I know he got concussed last week, and so he's going to be questionable going into this week. Yeah, I did not practice today, Wednesday. So that definitely hurts Daniel Jones's potential as a streamer.
I think the door is open for Bobby here, but I got to see something on this lineup.
I think it's open as well, even though he himself is banged up, right? And we talked about Rodgers not really being a starting caliber quarterback in 12-team leagues. Jonathan Taylor a little banged up, Singletary banged up. And he's also got, limited options, like you were saying. He's got to get active on the waiver wire, because nobody who he has right now can he really plug in. But I agree. I think this one's there for the taking. If Bobby wants it, does he want it is the question. I'll go Bobby.
This might be the lowest scoring game of the week. I'm going to go Bobby as well. And then there'll be 2 and 3 teams. What's the next game up here? Underachievers.
Yeah.
In the Andy stack. 1 and 3 Chun, 3 and 1 Andrew. He's got the check marks. He's got the projection. Once again, Joe Burrow playing Baltimore
in the lineup inexplicably. Baker sitting on the bench
on a Thursday night, but Baker's been playing so good. He's the third.
I think Baker go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm just about ready to go
scoring. He's the third scoring quarterback. Baker's having a hell of a year. Get him in the lineup. Or trade him.
Trade him. Listen, I think Baker Mayfield could play like 3 football games a week and be fine. Baker Mayfield's the coolest dude in the NFL.
He's pretty great. We're big fans of Baker here on the podcast. Chun has at least benched Tyreek Hill,
which he did last week too. So I give him credit. He benched him last week, and this is another one of those guys though, where like, are you just gonna sit and wait for the cows to come home, because it might not ever happen? Like, I don't know. I'm not saying that I would take him, but someone out there, you gotta get on the wire. You gotta try to figure out, okay, if I pick this guy up with some fab, does that then make Tyreek expendable? Let me throw out a couple of texts. Let me try to hype people up on the potential of having him, because you can't just let your first round draft pick. I think he was his first round draft pick, right? You can't just let him sit on your bench doing nothing. Yeah, he was the fifth player in our draft this year.
Yeah. I mean, I do actually, besides Joe Burrow, Baltimore, when you have Baker on the bench, I do like.
Yeah, he's got Swift in the lineup now. Yeah. Terry McLaurin.
Lowe's not a fan of Swift. For some reason, he just had a great game against the Rams. Carolina's been playing well, but it's not like they're.
Well, here's the thing about Swift that I like, and that I think, and again, I know that the Chun household is a little partial to the Rams over there, so they wanted to believe that, that defense was going to put up a fight last week, when that was the last thing they did, really, against the Bears. But if you looked at the touches that Swift was getting, week 1, it was 10. These are carries. Let me start with that. 10 carries, 14 carries, 13 carries. So
targeted 7 catches, 70 yards last week.
And then you look at the targets in those first weeks, 1 target, but then 5 targets, then 4 targets. So he's getting the opportunity to touch the ball about 20 times a game. And that was the pattern going into last week. So I don't see that, I think it's good that he's in the lineup, because with that kind of, again, word of the week last week, volume, you can't bench that kind of volume.
I mean, we're optimistic about Chun's team this week. Andrew's been patiently waiting in the chat for us to acknowledge him, but I'm on Chun. Let's move on.
I'm kind of on Chun this week too. However, what would be super poetic is if, Andy starts the week with a great performance from Bijan Robinson on Thursday Night Football, and Morgan's boy, who he was just I'm always a year too early. I'm too early on these guys. If all of a sudden the guy who he was a year early on, kind of lands the first punch this week, that would be pretty poetic, right?
It could happen. This Buffalo Houston game is going to be good. That's going to be one to watch. Yes. I think that'll be entertaining.
Yeah.
All right. We're both on Chun.
I think I'm on Chun. Yeah.
I think Chun.
Andy's gotten lucky with the points against, as we pointed out, most points, or least amount of points against so far during the year. I think he's going to have to score to win this week, because I think Morgan goes over 100 pretty easily.
Nice. That brings us to your team, Scrapdoor versus Ball Hogs.
Let's do it. Colin and I always play each other pretty tight in games. We've matched up in the playoffs before. Always enjoy playing him. Tough bye week for me. I have no Jahmyr Gibbs. Crushing it this year.
A lot of check marks.
Yeah, Tony Pollard not available either. He is also on bye. So that's less than ideal, right? Patrick Mahomes in prime time at home. I'm big on the Chiefs this week. One more time. We'll roll him out there. Samaje Perine also off waivers, and then Xavier Worthy. We'll see what that looks like. I know he got in the end zone last week, but as I acknowledged, I am aware that it's a boomer bust play. However, the opportunities are only getting richer in Xavier Worthy's case, with no Rice, with no Hollywood Brown coming back. And so why not roll him out there? And then it's really just going to take, somebody like, I got to get more from TJ Watt. If TJ Watt's not getting sacks, he's not really worth a start, but hopefully he can perform well against Dallas. That's another primetime game. I also have Pickens going in that primetime game. However, if Younghoe Koo is getting 20 points a week, I know you were the victim of his performance last week when we played. Like, that's incredible right there. So my specialty positions may be the thing that saves me this week. We'll see. Let me rephrase that. I'm going to need my specialty positions, TJ Watt, Baltimore defense, and Younghoe to put up like probably 40 to 45 points combined to keep me competitive this week.
Yeah, I mean, starting with a 39% chance of victory is what it's got for you. It doesn't look good. Colin's having one of those years. I do like the Justin Fields pickup for only $3. That's pretty great. Dallas has just not been themselves this year. 31 points, 2 rushing touchdowns. That'll hopefully open things up for Najee, and then maybe Joe Mixon though and Chuba Hubbard. Wow, you know who was early on Chuba Hubbard? Our boy Max behind the camera here.
Always been a fan. Always been a fan.
Big fan. Spent what, $50 on him?
Who is this Najee person you keep bringing up?
Najee Harris.
Never heard of him.
Yeah. Ja'Marr Chase is but up against Baltimore. Mike Evans. We're so hyped on Baker against Atlanta.
I mean, now
DK.
Yeah, I was gonna say now that the Ja'Marr Chase led Bengals offense has kind of woken up and joined the rest of the NFL in the 2024 season. You look at Chase, Evans, and Metcalf. Colin might have the best wide receiver core in the league.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Did a great job there. So no doubt about it here. I'm going Colin. Looked at 4-1. Earn his due.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like I've just got to be humble, got to stay humble. I know it's in recognizing that it's a tough bye week with my 2 starting running backs out. I'm fortunate, I think, to get that maybe out of the way early in the season, and now I'm not going to have to worry about running back bye weeks for the rest of the year. And so if I have to take a loss to get through a tough bye week, so be it. I'll pick Colin as well.
All right. Well, let's I guess we'll get this over with. Let's do myself and Camille. 4-0 versus 0-4. I am happy to see that my projection is now over 100, but I only have a 34% chance predicted to win.
Wow, that's wild.
Without Saquon Barkley in the lineup, I look pretty sad. And Devontae Adams is hurt. Still don't have my drafted tight ends available either, but I did go out and get Colby Parkinson.
I got to ask, what's going on with Amari Cooper this year? He's got the case of the drops.
Yeah, he's had some bad drops. He did have an 80-yard touchdown called back for holding to Zach Holding last week.
He's getting the targets.
I like the targets.
Yeah,
I like the targets. So still keeping him there. Obviously, Joe Flacco now playing for the Colts. That's very good for Michael Pittman, who had a breakout game last week. High targets. He's the number 1 option in the passing game for Indianapolis. Number 1 wide receiver there. 9 targets, 6 catches, 113 yards. So, I mean, I don't know. I could get lucky. Maybe this is a 30-point Deebo Samuel game. Deebo Samuel's been pretty solid for me. He's been healthy. Maybe Najee. Maybe Najee Harris. Maybe, God, please, Najee Harris scores 2 touchdowns. Huh? Can we get – I'll ask for 1. 1 touchdown, please.
Yeah, I think start with 1. And then
just so the record shows, Josh Downs also had 9 targets last week.
I gotta say one of the best waiver wire, a great waiver wire pickup so far this year was after I had dropped the Vikings week 1. I picked them up as a streamer just because I did not like Baltimore's matchup. And then you go ahead and swoop them up, and they've been nothing short of exceptional to start the year. I know they only scored 3 points last week, but I think you benched them. I don't think you played them.
Yeah, I've been carrying 2 quarterbacks and 2 defenses.
Yeah,
so I can kind of
they're still the number 1 ranked defensive and special teams unit. So that's been a great pickup for you.
And I would expect them to do well in London. Usually these London games are wet.
Underwhelming, not very high scoring.
Yeah, I know we were hyped on Sam Darnold, but I think Darnold's just efficient, especially in the red zone.
Darnold will throw for like 3 or 4 touchdowns, but maybe not even break 200 yards.
Yeah, like he's done that already this year. So that's kind of what we're thinking. So I don't know. I like everything except, if Saquon was in, I'd be a lot more. If I was at full strength,
For sure.
obviously, I'd be feeling confident.
Now,
But Camille, he's got those young wide receivers, Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr. I had CeeDee Lamb on my team last year. Obviously, he's consistent. And then Derrick Henry and Aaron Jones have been 2 top 10 running backs, consistent as can be. And then Camille, props to him for finding the stud quarterback this year in Jaden Daniels.
For sure. Yeah, number 1 ranked quarterback in our league right now. So I think guys like Henry, guys like Daniels, they're going to go off. As it stands right now, I think you can talk yourself into, well, maybe Jones going against the Jets in that London game is a tough matchup. You can look at CeeDee Lamb and say he's going to get shadowed by Joey Porter Jr., who, if you look back at Joey during his rookie season, shut down number 1 wide receivers.
Pittsburgh has had a better pass defense this year.
For sure. Marvin Harrison Jr. going up against that San Francisco defense. You can look at that and say, I kind of like it. And then maybe Neighbors with that concussion doesn't play or is limited. You never want to root for injury, but takes a big hit. I don't know. You can talk yourself into being optimistic if you're you in this situation, or if you're in any other league and you're playing against some of these guys this week, just because those are tough matchups there for Lamb, Harrison, and Neighbors. It's going to be hard. I think, I don't know if you can win this game. I think that Camille could potentially lose it, if that makes any sense. By having his guys kind of underperform. And like you're saying, if Najee just kind of gets into the end zone, if Debo's the featured player in that offense this year, if Cooper holds onto the ball, like if your guys kind of just show up and do their job here, you can be more competitive than 34% win probability.
Do you believe in miracles?
I don't. I not this week. I'm sorry, brother. I just don't think it's in the cards for you. But I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if it happens, though.
I pray to the fantasy gods. I'll sacrifice a goat to whatever I got to do. I'm picking the Commissioners to get on the board, shock the world. I'm back, baby. Can't get rid of me. I'm going to win this week. You watch.
Okay. I love it. All right. And then here, this makes sense. This is a great game of the week here next to close out the show.
Game of the week. 3-1. From the ashes, totally changes his whole roster upside down, bounces back from a shitty draft. He's 3-1, and his name is Tank Bigsby versus another 3-1, a long-standing staple in the Homies Fantasy Football League with a top finish of a second place a few years ago, but still has never won, looking to claim the title, coming off a tough last week with a loss to Camille Kefler. Nakua Matata.
Let me jump in here real quick.
He's got the check mark.
Tim, and just say my guy O'Shea is saying us. He's a commissioner of his own league, and he's saying us commissioners got to stay strong. So believe in yourself. Yeah,
I like this guy. He's listening, huh? Right on.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we should do this the old-fashioned way and just kind of go down the matchups here, right? Like it's a star-studded matchup at QB. Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen. I think I give the edge to Josh Allen just a little bit there, because I think Lamar and that coaching staff is learning, like, oh my gosh, we have this guy Derrick Henry now. We can give him the ball 25 times a game, and we can maybe give him a couple of targets and take some of the pressure off of Lamar.
And it's a division game. It's a divisional game. Cincinnati, I think they've probably been listening to some of the media. People do that. They're kind of down on them this year, but they've bounced back. It's in Cincinnati, so I think they're going to play them tough. I think that'll be a lower scoring game than Buffalo-Houston. I think Buffalo-Houston is going to be a shootout.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
So even though then you go Lamar, I think we go check mark Josh Allen.
I think we go check mark Josh Allen there. And then the next one, Kyren Williams, been performing great this year. Another top 10 running back, top 5 running back. However, Alvin Kamara, number 1 running back on this season. Tougher matchup in Kansas City in a primetime game. But I think much like in that Baltimore game, what the Ravens are going to want to do is control the clock, right, with their run game. Well, that's what the Saints need to do to keep the Chiefs offense and Patrick Mahomes off the field, is try to control the clock, establish the run game with Kamara. You could see that extending, Kamara is so good because his targets and his usage in the passing game is really just an extension of the run game. A lot of screens, a lot of things just at the line of scrimmage. So he's huge in PPR. If you look at his stats so far this year, I mean, the guy's got like over 20 targets already on the season. So just great all around.
We did a redraft. Kamara and Kieran Williams, they're in the first round easily.
100%.
Like top 5 picks.
So 2 great running backs. I give the edge to Kamara just a little bit though in that game or in that matchup.
Give the edge to Kamara.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, that's on the road in Kansas City. Kansas City is a well-coached team. Again, off to kind of a rougher start, kind of probably looking to really establish them. The Saints came out hot to start the season. If you think about the Saints, who else? I just feel like Kamara's going to get he's got to be the game plan. You're playing the Saints, stop Kamara. Make Rasheen Aheen or whoever the other, make Derek Carr, make them beat you. So I think the Chiefs are going to focus on Alvin Kamara, and then I think the Rams
kind of give him the Bill Belichick treatment, like we're just going to take you out of the game. Yeah, I see. Yep. Okay.
And the Rams hosting at home against the Packers. A little bit more of a dynamic offense for the Rams. I think I like Stafford in the helm there, and Kieran Williams is just as versatile as Kamara. So I would go check mark Kieran Williams there.
Okay. Next one, Brian Robinson Jr., a guy who I've rostered before, a fun player to root for, and part of that really exciting Commanders offense. He is questionable going into this week, however, so Jordan can't feel as great as he's felt about him in the past, probably. And then across the board is Kenneth Walker, who by all looks of that somersault martial arts flip or whatever he did on Monday Night Football, just one of the coolest things I've ever seen happen on a football field. He looks
talk about
healthy.
Let's talk about the Seahawks.
Great time to talk about the Seahawks in that performance on Monday night. Welcome to
the Hawks. Lose to Detroit in Detroit on Monday night in a back and forth, a great, very entertaining game. They're not healthy. Leonard Williams being out, Byron Murphy being out, Uchenna Nwosu still out, and then Jerome Baker.
Mafe did not play. Yeah.
All these top 7 or front 7 run stoppers, D-line guys are out, and they carved us up. They were moving the ball the whole time. And I think that was the big difference. You got to love what we saw on offense from the Hawks, though.
Yeah.
Especially, I like the 1-2 punch of Walker and Charbonnet, but I kind of wish that they gave Charbonnet the ball more earlier on in the game, control that clock, kind of take the tempo away from Detroit that got out to such a good start. Kenneth Walker is explosive. There's no doubt. Like, he makes plays. We saw the little sumo flip or whatever he did, but the guy is an outside runner. He's a perimeter runner. He's elusive. He's a home run hitter. He's really more of a spell in my mind. Charbonnet is well-rounded, downhill, runs between the tackles, probably a better blocker, probably a little bit more efficient runner, right? We see Walker take some losses. So I would have liked to see more of a split in that game, especially early on. But, Grubb knows what he's doing. He gets the shit together. Geno is having a Pro Bowl type season as far as his completion percentage. He's just totally comfortable, totally in control, where I think last year I was critical of kind of didn't seem like he really cared. He was so stoic. But now it looks more like a calm confidence. And he's moving the ball amazingly. And we're really getting the most out of DK Metcalf than we've ever seen in his career at this point. So for a young team, for a young head coach, a lot to learn from this close game loss on Monday night. We're still 3-1, a lot to improve on. Let's get Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams healthy. Let's get our defense up to snuff. But can't really feel bad about the loss. Not to mention some fucking questionable refereeing and officiating, especially at the end of the game. But I was very entertained watching that Monday night game.
Very, very entertaining game. Really nice to hear. And they haven't always been my favorite announcer duo, but Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were very complimentary of the Seahawks in their performance, and especially after halftime. I think what they saw is a lot of what we saw, where, okay, the Seahawks are 3-0. Everybody, including us, but talking heads around the country wanted to see how would they handle adversity, how would they handle going against another playoff caliber team on the road, and they got punched in the mouth. Like, we all saw it happen. They were down early, and then they went in at halftime, and whether it was a schematic change with Grubb doing something on offense or just McDaniel delivering an impassioned speech to the guys, they responded. So whatever it was, maybe some players stepped up. Who knows? I haven't listened to any press conferences yet, but really, really encouraging to see the team kind of feel galvanized on the road a little bit, even though they didn't come out with a win. They got to feel good about it. That's a team that the Seahawks could definitely end up seeing again in the playoffs. And if they have to go to Detroit again, they should have all the confidence in the world, feeling like they could win in that environment. So really encouraging. Yeah, the officiating was suspect, and that's putting it lightly. Like, it was bad at times. DK definitely got interfered with in the end zone. I thought the replay officials could have stopped the 2-point conversion to look at his shin coming down there by the pylon in the end zone. I think that was a successful 2-point conversion the first try.
Interception at the end, the ball definitely hit the ground, like, pretty clear.
It was tough. And so, yeah, I don't know. All in all, though, to be 3-1 after a close game like that, I know the final score is not really indicative of how entertaining and how close. Like, it felt like, you were watching a heavyweight fight or something. I know it's cliche, but it was just like, huge body blow after body blow after body blow, where teams just going down. Offensive football, big plays. Yeah, really fun. Really an exciting game. And now they get the Giants at home. I think that's a perfect. Looking forward, having them not be at 100%, this is the perfect kind of game now, where I don't really feel like it's a trap game. Like, there's times where you look at the schedule, we've seen it in the past, and you're like, shit, man, they're playing the Panthers, and they just won a big game, and now, whatever the case may be. This feels like, okay, they are refocused. They saw a lot of good things, I think, from backup, second, and even third string players this week. So if those guys have to go back out there again, it's at home. It's against a team that they should beat. I think that it's a perfect spot in the schedule for them to rebound, go back to 4-1, maintain their spot at the top of the division. So enthusiastic about the Hawks this year, man. Hawks are fun.
Lots to feel good about. I like how you mentioned the second and third string players getting time on the field. And then, it's good to see in a couple different games now, we've seen the coaching staff make adjustments at halftime that work out. So go Hawks. We're feeling good. Now back to game of the week. Sorry about that.
No, we almost didn't get it in. That was good. So I think that, in that RB2 spot, Blaine gets the nod for me with K9.
Definitely. But then we were just mentioning Rashid Shaheed. Here's the number one wide receiver for Kefler there.
Very, you can compare these wide receiver cores pretty evenly. I think, like, they're all undersized guys who are shifty guys, who are possession receiver types, but who can also, hit a home run. Waddle can hit a home run. Raheem Shaheen can hit a home run.
Jackson but then Najigba can as well. We just haven't seen it yet.
He can as well. Yeah. And so that's pretty interesting right there. I think maybe the safer floor is with Blaine, but between Wicks and Shaheen, that's a higher ceiling, especially with the quarterback struggles in Miami, and they have to go to New England. Say what you will about how the Patriots have played this year, and obviously Belichick's not on the coaching staff anymore, but that's always an interesting matchup when Miami has to go to New England. So anything could happen in that game. I give the wide receiver edge to Kefler a little bit.
Do you? I don't know. I don't like the matchups over there. I do think Kansas City is going to shut down The Saints, I know that, they got to focus on Kamara, and maybe Rashid gets good volume as they're going to have to throw more. Seems like a homer pick with this Devontae and Wicks Green Bay pick at LA, but I think the Rams are going to beat the Packers. I know that Max spent, half his budget on the Packers defense, but going to regret that one too. Zach Moss at Baltimore, that's a tough matchup. Trey McBride at San Francisco, that's tough. I like Blaine this week. I don't know about Kareem Hunt in the flex necessarily.
I think that's where Blaine's maybe the strongest, honestly, because Kareem Hunt 14 carries last week and 3 targets. And that was coming in cold off the practice squad. So now with a week to prepare, get up to game speed, and kind of be the featured guy. I picked up P. Ryan hoping that it would maybe be like a 60-40 split. I think that Kareem Hunt could be the difference maker in this game here.
Commish, you gotta look at some stats before you get on the pod next week.
I'm gonna pick Glow to win this week.
Just
my show is my show.
I love this cornerback pickup for Blaine, Paulson Adebo. I know he had a lot of pass deflections last week, which helped his score, but also tackles and an interception coming off of a 21-point game there from an IDP, and he's put up double digits for 3 out of the 4 times this year.
Taking a different strategy on the IDP, just a different one each week. He had dropped Roquan Smith, and it is actually, it's working out. It is a streaming position. There's a lot of options.
It's fun. It's a fun position. That's why it's maintained a spot in our league, I think, because if you choose to have fun with it and take a shot on some guys, it can honestly turn you into like a new fan of certain players and even teams when all of a sudden you're like, you
start kind of watching, you start paying attention to the defensive side of the ball a bit more.
Yeah.
That's why I have it in there.
This guy, Paulson Adebo, let me tell you.
I'd like to think that, as I ride off into the sunset eventually, and we think back 10 years from now about this league and my reign as commissioner, I think the IDP is going to be right up there as one of my top accomplishments.
Yeah. First line of the eulogy, just, Tim Dowling,
player.
He was a champion of the IDP.
Yeah.
Going back to that game of the week, I'm riding with Blaine as well on that. I think he wins a close one.
So hopefully some parity returns to the Homies Fantasy Football League this week, and I get my first win. Max gets his first win. We see some of the top dogs kind of even out. Would love to see some more parity, some more competitiveness. I need a miracle. I'm feeling more tired at the end of the episode. I'm feeling more alive and energetic. And I thank you, Vice Commissioner. Thank you to Andrew Glow for participating. Oh, your buddy O'Shea. Thank you so much. Thanks to everyone listening. Thanks to everybody. And
this is a big one this week. Set your lineups. Buys are here.
Set your lineup. Oh yeah, Max.